Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you to coming. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me and coming to All Things Possible. I am a little bit scattered brain apparently today. I was reaching out to my friend Kyron. He is all the way in Australia, and I know that they're usually ahead of time. I'm like, it is Tuesday morning, happy Tuesday, and he's like, oh, it's Wednesday. Anyways, my mind's a little jumbled. There's so much happening, trying to take care of so much. Lulu, thank you for jumping on. I have my guest Kyron's coming on today. He's all the way in Australia, and he is a healer. He is a quantum physics definer. And so I asked him to come on. I seen that he is collectively helping people raise their vibration, change their lives, and I asked him to join me today. So if we give a few moments until he comes on, when you guys jump on, say hello. And like always, I ask at the beginning, if you are catching this later on a replay, if you hashtag replay, it helps the video come up for somebody later on that might be able to get a message or some type of inspiration. All right, there he goes. Woo, we're ready. I was thinking today it's so awesome. I always have Shiva in the back of there like backing me up. All right, you guys, help me welcome my friend Kyron, and he is all the way in Australia, like I said. Thank you and welcome. Ta-da! Bam!
Hello.
I love it when it works the first time. I love it so much. I get so excited that all the ethers lined up that we were able to connect. Thank you for coming on.
Thank
Can
you.
you
Thank
hear?
you. It's just been so good. The energy has just been all in alignment today. So I felt like, we were supposed to do it last week and it
Yeah,
just kind of manifested in such a really weird way in like
yeah,
last week of retrograde and a whole bunch of things. So we kind of
yeah.
playing with a lot of different
Reschedule
energies
it.
at the moment.
I have learned so much with my experience to kind of just flow with whatever's happening. Sometimes we intend something else. And I think one of the things that helped me with that was what my uncle used to tell me: if you want to see God laugh, make a plan, right? So every
Yeah.
time you make a plan, source and the forces always says something else. So, but thank you so much for coming on. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, all right. So my name is Kyron. So that was a channel name that was given to me when I was 21 years old. I
Okay.
had a bit of a interesting journey through that whole process of, going through pharmacy school and like learning a
Yeah.
different whole thing of like, being in the matrix and learning everything that I was like doing with living my life. And a lot of the things that I did, I realized was quite, in a spiritual sense, alchemizing a lot of neutrality or negativity that was going around in the world. And I guess that's where my purpose came through and tried to find out. So what I am is I'm a creative change architect. So I help people creatively find their inner passions and to be able to step into their power and their resonance of who they want to be and what they want to become, and really ask them to channel that energy to be able to create that reality that they really really seek, or that reality that they really want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and through years and years of like understanding, and I was very fortunate to be born into a family which was very um, quite spiritually open. We were Catholic, but at the same time, we were very
Yeah.
adept with openness of experiencing different cultures like Hinduism,
My
Buddhism.
mom too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is beautiful because then I had not only a worldview, which was just this box, because it kept on expanding and expanding. And as I was going through my journey, I was constantly seeking knowledge and seeking different things that was happening, and why did people believe certain ways. And at the end of it, it just comes back down to love,
Yeah.
love, humanity, oneness, and that's about it.
Yeah. So how long has it been since you've been helping and like helping people creatively find their, their niche, their passion? How long has it been?
Well, so it all started off with me because I was very heavily involved in the fashion industry. So I was, creating runways, doing like fashion shoots and photo shoots and everything like that. And I was very obviously in that ego-based spectrum of life. And I always used to infuse a story behind my shoots, try to make sure that people understand that, that there's more to it. There's always a story behind it, and there's always an aspect of feminine, masculine, the balancing of the energies when you're taking a photo. And because my mind was so creative, I always tried to find a way to channel that. And although that was really rewarding and was amazing to be part of, I also did find that it was not fulfilling to my soul. Like my soul really wanted more and wanted to really make a bigger impact.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where it started through the journey of I can do both, but now I am trying to manifest and anchor in things which are much more in a high vibration, using fashion, using film, using high quality images.
That's so cool.
That's the next step for me, So
yes.
yeah, so that's when I started it, and I think that's when my journey, probably around 5 years now. So I started my agency, which helped people kind of creatively, work with brands which are all conscious based, and also with facilitators which are all conscious based as well. And we're creating a bunch of platforms. So we have I think I have 4 platforms I'm launching probably by end of the year, which is going to be quite intense. And it's been a whirlwind of like just sitting down and getting it done, but at the same time there's a lot of passion, lots of tears, lots of drama, lots of love, and lots of transmuting and alchemizing. So it's beautiful. I'm enjoying the journey, but at the same time I want people all to activate and awaken to be able to do this themselves.
Yes. And so what are some of the creative ways that, because I know you probably have different techniques and stuff like that, what are some of the ways, if you could just give maybe one example of some of the ways that you will help bring that out in someone?
So I use a whole bunch of different methodologies. So usually I talk about the quantum soul avatar. So that's one of my main programs that I actually do and help people with. It's an 8-week intense immersive program, which goes in to people's subconscious, unconscious, and their conscious mind. So we go into all the 3 different spectrums, and we really identify from which aspect of self does this limiting belief come from.
Nice.
And how do we retrace that back? And we try clearing it. At the same time, we are recoding whatever has happened in that particular time to change that whole understanding of it. So that's one of my programs, and a few different things that I do as well is like pranic healing. So pranic healing, and I usually team up with a really, really powerful pranic healing master, and he kind of does like a lot of remote healing with people as well. So a lot of my programs are infused with him. So he does the healing at the same time while I'm doing a lot of the mind work, and he's doing the energy body work, which is a bit more, I feel, does.
Yeah, that sounds powerful. Yeah, sometimes, and I think a lot of times, well, even I am not religious either, but I was brought up Hindu and Christian, and I chose the church for a long time. So I'll quote a lot of stuff from the Bible, which has taught me a lot, right? Have where I am now. But even the Bible talks about where 2 or more gathered, the forces is stronger, the vibration. So I can understand and see that. I also want to touch really quick that you were saying with some of the ways that you when you dive into the conscious, subconscious, don't you find that most of the time when you're doing healing work, excuse me, that it's taking people back to when they were a kid, something that was implanted, that you have to, like you were saying, heal and kind of reconstruct and come out of it differently? Is that how a lot of your work ends up also?
It always ends up like that. I mean, like naturally, I believe that it's starting with the kid. And I think there was a quote that was quoted by my friend, and that actually really resonated with me so much, that it says, let's heal this generation so that we do not create a generation with all the traumas that we have, which makes a lot of sense
to our children.
Or what she said, let's not make the next generation suffer from trauma and call it as culture, which was powerful, which is what is happening. Now we are culturally changing constructs or changing laws to kind of, take care of people's unhealed traumas.
That's a really big one too, because not only individually, and that's why one of the things, and even yesterday I touched on that too, is that when we heal individually, we are healing collectively too. And what I see what's happening with that healing is that even cultures, like you said, are changing. And some people don't like that because they grasp on and they don't like change. But those who have come here to know that it must change now because it hasn't been working very well, right? And maybe keep what has been working, but what does not serve us anymore, it's time to let that go. So I think
And
that's, go ahead.
that is so true. That's so true because it is so important because the reason why they don't want to change is because the identity, the ego comes in and goes, this is
Yeah.
me,
Don't
this is my
change.
worldview, no
Yeah.
change, I'm not going
This
to
is
change
what I
anything.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard, like, and I totally get it and I totally empathize with it, but at the same time the change occurs when you are ready for it anyway. So you're not going to be given or presented an opportunity, or
Yeah.
the universe is not going to present an opportunity for you if you are not ready for change.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
is a bit of a balance
We have
anyway.
to take that stuff. Yeah, I know. I find
Yeah.
when I was younger, when I would say younger, maybe like, well, I was younger about 10 years ago. So I would always say if I had nothing to go get a tattoo, I wanted the word dichotomy because life is such a freaking dichotomy. It's such a balancing act, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a balancing act with all the information that we've been getting and all the information that we've been using to change our lives too. So I think
Yeah.
everything that we learn comes with a balance too with it. And so you have people, I'm sure, just like everybody else all around the world that you work with as well.
Yeah, a lot of them are mainly based in Australia, but a lot of them are from all around the world. Like a lot of my one-on-one clients are from around the world, and a lot of my events um, is based very Australian, I guess, at this stage. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool because right now, with what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to implant in, is pretty much just bringing everyone collectively together with no judgments. And I think it's such an important message now is just for people to unite and like having unity within, and it's hard for people to have unification when their insides are ununited, if
Yes.
their body is
Oh,
not
that's
united.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. It's true. It is true. That's why it always begins with self first. And again, going back to kind of what I just said, but because you triggered that memory for me, is healing ourselves is healing collectively. You know, healing
Mm,
ourselves is healing collectively. When we do the work, even if it's just the 20 people that you interact with, that triggers off into them, and then we know the whole domino effects take place. So
yeah.
I think
And
that's it. Go
it's such
ahead.
a beautiful space to it's such an opportunity actually to be in this point in time. And I know this whole thing the past 2 years has just really derailed a lot of people, and but at the same time I just look at it as, wow, what an amazing opportunity for people to be able to really take the time to delve deep within themselves, really have
Yes.
the opportunity to heal. And for those who are not doing the work to heal, then it's fine, but at the same time, it's going to catch up. And when that catching up happens, and I guess this is why the work I'm doing right now is trying to activate as many healers or as many healed as they can possibly be, individually,
Yeah.
collectively, because those people are going to need their help because I can't collectively help, an incubator of 10 million people,
Yes. Every single person. Yeah.
yeah, so it's all hands on deck right now, and this is
Yeah.
why we are all doing the work that we need to do so that we can be the way showers, the guide
Yeah.
warrior, the lamp that is the light at the end of the tunnel, because they can actually see us and go, how do you live your life and how do you resonate in this frequency? Because a lot of things are going to come undone, and when they do come undone, and it's going to be chaotic and it's going to be crazy, and whatever it is that's going to happen, it's going to be quite intense, and the emotions are going to come up. They're going
Yeah.
to need to really find a way to alchemize these emotions.
Yeah, I want to say when a lot of things come up, because I see a lot of people going through that right now too. When you are doing this work, I think um, people might ask like, what is going to come up? What becomes so hard? But a lot of the implant that we've had from since we were at birth, the subconscious belief, when you are changing something and uprooting its belief, it can it can take a toll on your mind, your emotion, your body, different ways. And so having tools and knowing different ways of how somebody there to help guide you, to talk to, I think that's one of the reasons why too I love talking to people who are helping, so people know that they have people they can reach out to. One of the
Mm,
things I say in almost every single show, because it was kind of shown to me about 2 years ago that when all these superhero movies were coming out, and then also the message was also coming out collectively that we're not waiting for someone to come and rescue. We are the person that we're looking for. We are the person who's going to rescue ourselves. But in the sense that we were all these superhero teams all over the world, sprinkled in billions of us, and we're gathering, meaning that we're helping other people to become more aware of who they are, more aware of how to access their own power. You know, I think that's the work that all of us are doing, no matter what space you're doing it from, whether it be your mind, your physical, or your spiritual work. All three of it lines up together, but all of us working together are teams of spiritual superheroes, I call it. And what you love the most and how you give back, that's your superpower.
that is so true. And like that, I just got tingles all around my back because I was
Yeah.
like, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Because I just feel like, yeah, that is quite interesting because the other day I was at a cafe and I was actually chatting to this beautiful girl who walks the lands with Aboriginal people, and she was talking about we were just talking about just normal spiritual stuff, and we were just talking about like opening up portals, closing up portals, changing
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
all of this stuff, right? And to me, I just sat there for a minute and I was just looking around this cafe and I was thinking, the people who like listen to the conversations of what I'm having right now can be quite confronting because we are actually talking about superhero stuff that these people would
Yesterday,
not understand.
my mom and my brother and my mom and I would go into this and talk the same type of lingo. And my brother was sitting there like, I'll talk when I can relate what the heck you guys are speaking. And we just laughed and was like, we'll talk about it later, because my mom can talk to me like that, and my grandmother, we all three of us would talk like that as a little kid. And so yeah, I was telling her I seen things in the cloud and I seen him, and he's like, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. So yeah, people looking on sometimes will think, but that's okay. We're still living it. We know the truth, and I also know their part in the story too. So like I let them, do their thing and whatever. But I love it. I love talking, and I can go on and on too. So
And that's
so
so
tell me.
beautiful that we actually, you know what, like how how fantastic is the fact that we actually have the opportunity and to do that now, to do that
Yes.
this age. And
Yes.
I think what back in the day we would have been burnt in the stake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let's just be honest here. Like, let's just not fluff it up. We would be burnt to the stake, or we would have been thrown into the rock pit,
Yes. Oh
and
my gosh, can you imagine all the
you give it a
crystals
minute.
and all these things
Yeah.
that are out now? We're all, in a sense, we are all witches and warlocks.
And we're just literally activating all of these energies, and some people would not ever understand it, and that's okay. That's okay if they
Yeah.
would never understand it, and that's totally okay to never ever understand what is happening with another person or their experience. And
Yeah.
this is why it's so beautiful. And like, I'm writing this into my book as well, and this whole book is actually about understanding the generated experience of a person, because we generate the experience, no matter what it is. Like, we can generate the experience if we want to move. The universe is always trying to respond to what we want. So
Mm-hmm.
regardless, if you want to manifest something that's completely not what I'm experiencing, that's totally fine, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly okay.
Yeah.
But then the soul will naturally always go back to this state, and that's the beautiful part about it. Because if you manifest through the ego, yeah, it brings you to maybe a potential,
A certain
um,
level.
to a
Yeah.
certain level, but then the soul will bring you always back to a very organic state of who you
What?
are.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It doesn't matter either, too. That's what I love. It doesn't matter what angle you hit this at, what perspective you take it up. I tell people all the time, too. If you start working on your thinking, your words, it's going to lead to you being aware of what it is you're putting in your body. So you're going to start working on your physical. which is going to start making you question about yourself and about who you are and where you come from and where you're going, which is going to bring you to spirituality. And any one of those you hit is going to, because spirituality will make you realize, oh, the gratefulness of your vessel. So you start taking care of your body. And then, you know, like, so all three of them are connected, and it's just getting lined up with that, I think, is what will not make a perfect life, because I don't think planet Earth was meant for perfection in that sense, completely 100%. I think there's moments of it and increments of it, but not a complete ride, because that's how we are expanding. It's through our trials, it's through the shadow work, it's through the opposite, the yang, and that's how this planet was created, for us to expand. And so learning this, though, would help you be a little bit more at ease, because when it's not going how you are intending it to, you know that there's something bigger than you taking place, and you kind of learn to relax and just let things flow the way that they were supposed to. And then when you can access your power and use your power to create your life, you do that. Right?
Exactly.
So it's learning how to control and surrender, control and surrender, control and surrender.
And that's the beautiful part about it. It's, you know, we are we are surrendering and then we're controlling. We're surrendering and we're controlling. Now, I always tell this to everyone. This is what it is, right? Life,
right,
up and down.
Yes, I say that all the time.
The frequency is what we are dealing with, right? So when you level yourself up, you have the chance and opportunity to have more surrendering and have more control, have more surrendering and have more control. Now, as it keeps going more faster and faster and faster, it comes to a point where it's so small that you have very little control and very little surrendering, that's almost a finite line.
Ooh.
That is where the magic happens, because then you are actually bifurcating and actually penetrating the universe with no surrender and no control, and you're just there, you're present, you are in that state of being.
Powerful.
That is where it is, you know, that is where the magic happens. And it takes a lot for someone to be able to deal with that, the up and downs, you know, it's an energetic thing, because you are upgrading. And this is where we talk about or what is all this upgrades, or like, you know, what are we doing and why do we have to work with you or work with us? Because we are creating a container for your energy body, container for your physical body, so you can be able to do this, so that you can know how to navigate when you are in the state of surrendering and come back down to control, and you can navigate out of control going back to surrendering. So the requirement, you know, the tools, the navigation tools, not everyone has it. And there's the thing, like, you know, finding the guide, finding the right person to be able to really evolve you as a person, energetically, physically, mentally, spiritually, all requires that container of holding. And there's only certain people that have that alchemization. And I think I call this as codes, because someone might look at you, or like someone might look at me, they would find that this person has the codes that I require to bring me up to the level that I want to be at, you know. And that's the beautiful part about it, because everyone has their own codes.
Yes. I seen that you did a video with that. Do you work also with like light language and DNA? Yeah. I think I
so
see
light language was a very interesting channel that came through 2 years ago. I was doing an event, and in the middle of this event, out of nowhere, this energy just poured into me, and I just started blurting out like light language, and I started singing it, and just started like just doing really interesting journeys. And I think for a long time I was kind of like, am I crazy or what's happening? Because I didn't know about this light language stuff. I thought I was speaking tongues. I thought I was like possessed, all of these things. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And it was very fortunate that I found a group of people who actually are very high level light language activators, and they're like, oh, this is normal. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. I'm like,
that's
oh, cool.
amazing.
Yes. But I started going more.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, the first time I experienced it, first of all, I didn't even know what it is. So I grew up, my mom was a dance teacher, and so I grew up in dance classes and dance on stage and TV and stuff like that in my country. And over here too, even in America, I would go to her dance classes. And so a lot of times my mom says she speaks to God in her dance. And so I know what that is and understood that. Well, one time I was an adult with my two kids, and I was in a space where I was going in a depression. As a matter of fact, around the time where I was catalyst into more finding myself in. And I prayed and I cried and I prayed and I cried, and I didn't know how to talk anymore. And mine was, all of a sudden I started doing some of the dances, but I knew I was speaking. I was speaking to God as I was doing it. And so this would happen a lot of times at nighttime, and I would start doing the different, could feel the whole story unfolding in my hands. And it wasn't until years later I started, went through the changes, started adding people to my, and I wanted my Facebook page to represent a certain type of energy. And so I started looking for people, and I found one of my friends now, Lori Ivy, and I first seen her do it, and I said, hey, I know that language. She was doing it. And I was like, I know that. I didn't know other, and then it starts to pop up everywhere. But I didn't know that this was called a light language. I just knew it was, to me, it was dance moves I was doing that was actually speaking to God. And now I see it everywhere. People are all over doing this light language. It comes very natural, to me too. So I love how Source does that too with each person individually, because everyone, like you said, is just like a little aspect to me of God, and all these are different like personalities in the sense of God. And every story is so unique and so beautiful that you could not plan it out the way it unfolds, the way that you find the tools to use to help you to move to the next. That was my next question. I was going to say, what are some of the tools that you use? Because I know I found like meditation, tapping, journaling. We talk about a lot. What are some of the tools that you use in your programs?
So my main thing that I've actually used for a long time was the Merkaba meditation, which was taught to me by Dranmiller, which was a really powerful way of actually alchemizing the masculine and feminine, being able to hold a container, and also to be able to have the multidimensional self activate. I actually have the program ready to go, and everyone that I've brought on, it's just a 2-hour masterclass that just brings people through this journey of really understanding the Merkaba, which is all present within us and around us. But once you activate that, you activate the multidimensional self. So that actually allows you to journey through different realities very vividly. So the perfect part of the the understanding is the activation of it, because it's not just doing that, it's actually using the mudras, it's also using the breath, it's also using the visioning, it's also using the invocation, and also the visual, like the whole thing. So it requires a bit of a practice tool, that it's just not, oh yeah, just imagine the Merkaba and that happens, because you need to activate it. And then you also have the breath, the mudras and the mantras that come with it to be able to invoke it. So it's pretty cool. That's something that I've used for a long time now. And to me, I feel like it only takes 10 minutes to do. And as soon as you do 10, like you learn it in 10 minutes, you're already up there. You are doing the thing that you need to do. And it's very apparent, because I spent years and years to be able to just meditate, take 45 minutes to get to that state of like complete, like, we call it shavasana, I guess, like in yoga. And now with the Merkaba, like I probably can get that within 5 minutes, which is, shavasana, now you're just in that state constantly, and you can do whatever you want.
I've heard of it, but I have not practiced that, so I would love to learn more about that. So the one that I'm learning now is the mudra, where your 3 fingers are together, and they're saying, and then you go into the meditation state. I know there's a couple of pictures which she was saying. Yeah, I've heard of that one too, but I know that, I talked about that, and there again, with that can be a yin and a yang, but who was it? Someone that I had on my show explained something about being able, I think it might have been Gage, being able to get into that stage when you're in a crisis, or you're in a situation where you do need to shut off thought and get into, into spirit. I've now resonated and understand, and kind of understand and accepting to that. Why? Because I was like, why is everybody trying to get there quickly? Just sit down, calm down, breathe, and you'll get there. But but now I'm realizing too, a lot of people are wanting to access it quick. Well, because not only is a state of manifestation, but also it's a state of going into that space of for direction, for peace, for all the access of what you get when you access God, source, whatever you call it. So going into that space as quickly as possible can be very useful. So I think that would be something really cool to learn more about. I have
Yeah.
Sarah said, she says she also uses sound to do that. The Macrobot makes it quick. Oh, she said it makes it quick. Just trying to see if anybody has any questions, if they're saying anything. Yeah, she said it brings a lot of peace. All right, a lot of people are just saying yes, they agree. All right, so tell me a couple of ways that we can reach out to you. People want to know more about what's launching for you by the end of the year again. Can you tell me what's launching for you?
All right, so I have a few things launching. Actually, next month I'm doing an incubator with like 10 people, and I'm probably trying to reach around 12 to 13 people, and it's called the Codex Ultimatum. And the Codex Ultimatum is technically, there's three facilitators, myself, Master Greg, who's a world-renowned pranic healer, as well as Sol, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner. So we have kind of curated a 4-week program, and it's an intensive. So the 4-week program is quite intense. So you go twice a week, we'll be doing calls for like a couple of hours, and we're going to reprogram different variations of yourself, and to be able to, what will happen, I'm hoping after the 4-week program is pretty much the way that I channeled this program was requiring me to bring people to be able to channel and activate themselves, right? So yeah, after the 5 weeks or 4 weeks, because I do 4 weeks and 1 week of integration afterwards, and
Okay.
that after the 5 weeks, I think most people will be able to channel, to be able to really understand themselves, to be able to work with the soul
Wow.
avatar, and
Yeah.
it's a heavy program, but it's going to be so worth it. On top of that, that's going to be Greg, that's going to be doing the pranic healing and clearing energy for them every day for the month. And so it's going to come in with an amazing Ayurvedic schedule for people to be able to do the true Ayurvedic for food, which is more towards the Siddha-based food, which is not Ayurveda itself, because Siddha is where it actually goes back to the Vedas, where the Vedic-based food technology, because it's actually not a food, it's actually a technology to be able to activate the DNA within. So it's such an amazing and powerful incubator that I'm hoping that's going to resonate with a lot of people. And I'm not doing too many of this, and I really want to just give as much as I can. So, the way I've done that, is just to create this incubator for everyone to be able to go in, drop in, take that month, at least before the end of the year, you have that clarity in December going
Yes.
into the new year, so that they can really go, okay, I'm going to have a complete
Yes,
lifestyle.
that sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the whole point. So I'm doing that, as well as my online platform is called Atos Wellness, and it's going to be launching in the next couple of weeks as well, which is a full wellness-based platforms, and there'll be more facilitators on back, and I would love to have you on there as well.
I would.
Yeah, just let me, we will definitely link up after this, and
Okay.
have you on board, and we can just chat to you about it and see what we can get you on there with and
Let's
roles
do.
and
Yeah.
stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, like this is the whole point. It's like we're trying to create a collective of people, facilitators, and this is why I want to work and activate more people, because I require more people to jump on to be able
Yes.
to
Yeah.
create a collective
I'm telling
change.
you, we're building these teams. We're building these teams all around the world. I know it.
It's more of the underdogs now, because we have the
Yes.
seniors, like the people who are like, like Deepak Chopra and all of those big people, that they have their own thing. But it's our turn now, which is the younger
Yes.
have learned from them, alchemize way more,
Yes.
right?
I
So
would be
now
like, I
it's
wish I had an
our turn.
applause button and all that right here. Yes. And that's been coming to me too. It's like, so we have all these people that kind of set the fire, and somebody set the fire for them, and there's this whole domino effect always taking place, right? As we know, there's always this beautiful synchronization of beautiful chaos, I call it.
Yeah.
But so we're learning so that it's no longer have to be just like these 4 or 5 different people. It's everywhere. All of us are getting the same message now. Yeah. So,
yeah, and this is the beautiful part about it, because we all now collectively can work together to actually create the higher timelines, the higher
yes.
and yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful place to be in.
I love that. Okay, so if they want to know more about your classes and how to reach you to be able to see more, learn more, jump on in one of the classes with you, how can they do that?
So my best way would be Instagram. Is just go to Kryon Kyros, Kyron Kyros. They should be able to find me. Our Facebook is perfectly sustainable. I do have my website. It is completely down at the moment because I'm restructuring everything.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
tell people at this time, though, and age that we're moving into, a web page is really awesome, especially when you have maybe merchandise and stuff like that and different
yeah,
packages that you do want to offer. But most of the time, I think Facebook and Instagram is one of the best ways, anyways, to reach out to people. So if you leave your link to your Instagram in the comments when we're finished, that'd be awesome. And people know already just to reach your name and that's tagged on the top of the video. That would be a great way. He said also you can reach out to him, send a DM. I'm gonna say shoot him a DM. Send out
yeah.
a
It
DM
should
to
be in
him.
DMs.
Yeah.
Slip into my DMs,
Yeah,
everyone.
slip into his DMs.
And I do
And,
do like a 10-minute or 15-minute like discovery call just to kind of really set in the
yeah,
foundations with everyone as well, because I'm quite selective with who I work with as well, just because
absolutely.
I do require people to be of a certain like space and
I get
energy,
that.
because it's if they want very basic stuff, that's like perfectly fine. I would point them to a person that they can actually go and get all the basic
Right.
functions done. But the way that we like the thing that I do, it goes in deep, deep, deep. Like we're
Yeah.
going really deep. We're really alchemizing a lot of things, and
Yeah.
it's high level spirituality, which means like we are talking about like technologies from like back in ancient India. We're doing temple technologies, like there's like number codes, like things like
Yeah.
that. Which
They want to be on the
cool.
same frequency to be able to get it. So I get it. I
Yeah.
think looking for a coach is just like looking for a therapist. But here's the thing I notice differently with coaches, and absolutely love, is that usually when someone says they're looking for a therapist or whatever, they're looking for the therapist, and the therapist is just sitting there, and whoever comes to accept. Where most coaches says, I need to feel you out too to see if we're a match to help each other, because you can come to me and sometimes nothing takes place because you're not in that frequency to receive what they're teaching. So I think it's really cool that you will do the you said 10-minute call so that you can kind of feel it. A lot of people said that if it lines up, we'll work together. And so
Yeah.
if you're ready to receive some of the information that you have, you guys can send him a message and find out more from Kyron. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story with us. I really, really loved your energy from the first time I seen you. And I knew you were here healing, and I wanted you to come on and talk about that. So thank you for coming and taking time
Thank
to.
you so much, Prudence. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for having me on, and I'm really, really am grateful. And I saw your stuff, and I'm like, wow, like she's doing some amazing stuff back there,
yeah.
in all the way in America, and hopefully one day we'll line up and really catch up in
I
real life.
have interviewed today. I was thinking, oh wow, in Australia again. I've interviewed so many people in Australia. I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to take a trip to Australia. Seriously.
Yeah, and you're welcome to my house, and you're welcome to come in and like
Thank
crash
you.
with mine, and
Thank you.
place.
Thank you.
Yeah, at this stage, I think everyone, like my last message to everyone is just to be able to, um, just whatever that's happening in the 3D realm, we have the choice whether we want to engage in it or put our energy to it. Right?
Yes.
If we are putting our energy to it, just have to think the consequences is if we are creating a karmic cycle for ourselves. Right? We have an opportunity to elevate and levitate, and we
Yes.
have to be able to take that opportunity and be in a space of taking the opportunity. If we can take that space and quantum leap and go up into a higher dimensional frequency and live through that and be able to really, really create a new reality for people, the way showers like us,
Yeah.
then I think anyone else can do it as well. So we
Absolutely.
have to be the beacon of light for everyone else.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for standing in your light, living your light. I love you.
Thank you.
Have a blessed rest of your day. In the future, you have to tell me what the future holds tomorrow.
A lot of frequencies and a lot of energies and activations at the moment.
All right, you have a blessed day. Thank you again.
Have a
Okay.
beautiful day. Thanks,
Okay.
Chris.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I knew it was going to be good. I wanted to learn more about what he was doing because I can feel that he was an energy healer. I can feel that he was out here spreading love and messages and reminders of who we are, using his spiritual superpower to help heal the world. You guys, whatever your form is, it could be in just being kind to strangers. It could be reminding someone not to give up. However your form it is, could be by giving hugs to people, helping feed the homeless, helping take care of children. There's so many different ways that you can use your superpower. I just want to encourage you to be out here and loving on people. We are spiritual superheroes, holding each other's hand, reminding each other of who we are and that we are capable of living a life that you enjoy for the most part. All right. Oh, he said it ended at 11:11. All right, you guys, have a blessed day. Join me tomorrow. I have 2 guests tomorrow. My friend Kale is coming back on, and Andy is coming on in the evening. That one was arranged today, so it was last minute, but should be very fun and interesting. You guys join me again tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night.